people do go through different traumas, and it's something that happens, unfortunately, quite common in today's world. In fact, when it comes to sexual abuse, 1 in 4 girls, according to a 215 study, 1 in 4 girls will be sexually abused before the age of 18. And so what do we do when we're faced with these traumas? And some of us are faced with severe long-term childhood trauma, and also they have other traumas, because for some reason, once a victim is victimized, they're also re-victimized. Sometimes they self-sabotage. They put themselves subconsciously in the wrong situation or make the wrong decisions. So sometimes it takes a very long time to see the light. And I can give people hope by telling them there's God, and they can turn to God, and they can pray, and they can exercise, and they can listen to music, go on Facebook, talk to a friend, call a support number, many different ways to help oneself. But what if you just can't, you just don't care to? It no longer matters. You've given up hope. Well, to those I tell you, don't give up hope. And I'll share a personal story with you why you shouldn't. When I was a kid, I had a dream. I knew that my world would come apart. But I was pretty much abused from the time that I was 7 till the time that I was 15. And then I had a daughter at 18 with an abusive man who used to beat me. I suffered domestic violence. That's why I left him. But then when I left him to protect my unborn daughter, he took me to court when she was a year old, 3 to 4 times a year, trying to take her away, trying to change custody, claiming parental alienation. Well, I hadn't been married yet, and it was maybe 7 years into continuous custody battles. And I felt tired. I was worn out. I did not want to get angry at God. I did not want to doubt him. I couldn't. He was all I had. Him and the Virgin Mary. I had no family. So I couldn't. But I was very, very drained. And I came across 3 nuns. And I asked them, I've prayed so much. I prayed and I've cried and I've gone to church and I've tried to live my life the right way. And I feel like I'm destined to suffer. God's never going to answer my prayers. And these custody battles, I begged for them to end. The nuns, they told me, read the story of Job. And granted, I've never read the Bible, but I have been to church, and I know that Job is a story of someone who suffered for a long, long time, but never lost hope and never lost faith, and in the end, he was greatly rewarded. As was I, because after 14 years, the custody battles did end. I did find the love of my life, because my life story, as tragic as it may be, is also an amazing love story. So, in the end, I was greatly blessed with 3 beautiful children, 4 great little dogs, wonderful friends. I have one sister that I speak to, and I cherish everything that I've had. I live my life better. I make better choices. I've learned to appreciate everything, even a sunny day, because it's not raining. Or maybe when it rains, I'm glad the trees are receiving nourishment. I always look for the bright side of things. People have challenged me. I can always find the bright side of everything. I think that's one of the ways that I've survived. And that's one of the ways that others can survive. And this is why I'm sharing my story with others, to let them know that there's hope and giving them ways to find a way to help themselves, because a psychiatrist or a therapist can only be there for an hour. What happens to the rest of the days or until your next appointment? Medication could only work 35% of the times. And what happens when you grow resistance and then you have to depend on the next new medication in order for it to work? So one has to learn to help themselves and find fulfillment in helping themselves. One of the things a victim needs to learn once they become a survivor, as we all do, is to love themselves. Because a lot of times, victims have a low self-esteem. And it's important that we love ourselves. And one of the things that I've learned fulfillment, that I've found fulfillment in, is helping others. Anything that you do, whether it is cleaning the house, or talking to a friend, or helping somebody with an errand, anything that you do, being kind to someone, saying a kind word, smiling at someone, anything that you do, every little kind thing that you do, even if nobody's noticing, even if you're doing it alone, everything that you do, you're really doing for God. He takes notice. And for some reason, even if you feel drained, even if you feel there is no hope, believe it or not, if you pray, and you pray every day, eventually something's bound to give. It cannot last forever. Everything passes. Trust me, it does. And anything that doesn't kill us only makes us stronger, only makes us better people. I have to tell you, one of the things that I am extremely grateful for is my husband. He had no idea what he was getting into. He had no idea the can of worms he was getting into. Not only did I have two doctor parents who were kind of a little different, not so nice. I don't think he'd like them. And I had a custody battle to deal with 3 to 4 times a year. Boy, I have to tell you, it must have not been fun for him.
Well, fun. Fun is a defined fun. Well, we were stronger together. Well, the custody battles was something that I experienced with you, and then that's definitely something that I don't want people to go through, because the father of your daughter was just a jerk. What can I say? And then unfortunately people just abuse the legal system by filing frivolous lawsuits, and then you need to defend yourselves. And that's what we did. But the guy was definitely not the right person.
Well, the thing is that people can really abuse the system so long as they have money and they have no problem with lying. And the reason that the custody battles lasted so long, because it was me against the world. It was just my daughter and I had no family. And the father, he owned a business. His wife proved her love to him by attacking me.
Yeah.
And they would come in with documented lies.
But even if after that, I mean, we were strong together. We had a very good attorney who was defending you very well. It's just the system allows, unfortunately, for abuse. You know, he kept on filing, remember, frivolous lawsuits with lies, and then you can't just throw it away. You need to go and defend yourself and waste our time and then money and everything. It's just crazy.
At least I learned how to become a lawyer and recuse the general master. Well, there's the bright side.
Okay, well, I guess not everybody is
so optimistic.
No, it is. I mean, unfortunately, it's not correct for people just to show their ego, and that reflects on the children. As we spoke last week, you know, the children are the one that actually suffering, and we really need to be conscious. What we do to our children when we go into never-ending custody battles, and unfortunately the judges are not the ones that can determine that, because they don't know all the facts, and even if they do, their hands are just tied, I guess.
Well, because it's your word against his, and he has the documented lies, and
Well, we had documented stuff, so too. He says something, we say something, and then what? Next year he files another bullshit lawsuit. That's how was our case since we got together. Was it Danielle was 8 to 16? That's 8 years.
yes, but I just want to point something out, that no matter how many times we worried or how miserable we felt at times because of the unknown, everyone's afraid of what they don't know, everything did always turn out okay, no matter what. In the end, guess what?
True.
God is in control. We worried for nothing. And
That's true.
sometimes we create our own circumstances. Once we stop making excuses for ourselves and we start changing our actions, we start becoming successful. Anyhow, for those that are tuning in, I'm your host, Amy Cavell, and we've been talking about the consequences of trauma as well as PTSD. And we have our lines open. If anyone would like to call, the number is 305-541-2350. Again, that's 305-541-2350. This is The Cure.
Or you can do online on 880thebeast.com.